Russ is very into. I'm very into movies too. Russell's.
We talk about movies.
We talk about movies all. We were just talking about Midsummer before this.
I saw
Midsommar.
Midsommar.
We just said we're not going to talk about movies.
I can talk about Midsummer
late.
because I saw
Too late.
Midsummer. Did you guys
All
like
right, let's talk
Midsummer?
about Midsummer because
I
I
just
did want to
saw
have
it
this
for the
conversation.
first time last night, and I enjoyed it. I really did. I thought it was good.
What did you think, Pete?
I thought it was Hereditary light.
That's what everyone says.
Yeah.
I thought I like Midsummer better than Hereditary. Though,
Really?
just as a full movie experience.
You're the first person I've heard say that.
So I personally, I don't know if you'd categorize it as horror.
It wasn't scary. It was just like unsettling.
It's definitely unsettling. I personally am not a horror guy.
Really? I love
Really?
horror movies.
Because like, I know it's not going to make me feel good. So like, do you remember? This isn't horror. Do you remember when that movie Spotlight came out? You guys ringing any bells for anybody? It was a movie about. It was a true story about how like those journalists uncovered that priests were diddling little boys.
Okay.
You know, it's a serious film. It won the
Yeah.
Oscar, I think, that year. I'm sure. I'm like, okay, I know this is good. It's like a good film, but I don't want to watch it.
Yeah,
I
because it's
know
gonna
what
make
it's
you feel
about.
awful.
I'm not going to be feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
And my friends said, no, let's just watch it. And I watched it, and I felt like absolute shit.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't like horror movies for that same reason. But I watched Midsummer, and I tried not to like know anything about it going into it, hoping it would enhance my movie-going experience. And instead, it didn't enhance it, whatever the opposite of enhancing is. Dehanced?
Dehanced it.
Yeah, I personally was not really big into Midsummer. I think mainly it's because I don't like that kind of movie. I found it to be like gruesome for no reason. Does that make sense?
There was scenes in it that I thought, like, okay, they wanted to bill it as a horror movie, so they put this gore in.
And it was overly gory. Now, I went through a phase in high school where I could not find the war movie that had the gore that I was looking for some reason.
Okay.
I'm into that gore because, you know, there's a reason for it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stephen Private Ryan's good and all that other crap.
Yeah.
But for some reason, like this Midsummer, for me, it's too much.
Just hearing everybody talk about it for the past year, I was expecting like a wall-to-wall bloody gore fest, but I was like underwhelmed. Not underwhelmed, but there was just like a lot less blood and gore than I was expecting. Which at the same time made it more anxiety-inducing because like I was like, okay, I know crazy shit's gonna happen. I know there's gonna be blood and gore, but like it's just not coming yet. So it kept me like kind of like on edge the whole time.
Yeah, I agree with that. It was an anxiety producing movie for me as well. But I don't know. It didn't have like the reason I think it's worse than Hereditary is because it didn't have the impact. I don't want to spoil Hereditary, but there's a scene in Hereditary that just like put my jaw on the floor, like, and it was only like 25 minutes in. I have a feeling that people.
You should watch Hereditary.
Yeah, I didn't even know you haven't seen it. Yeah, I won't spoil it. But people who've seen Hereditary know what scene I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the pole.
It's like the catalyzing moment for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. Okay.
Is it a scary movie?
It's pretty. It's scarier than Midsummer, but it's not as. Actually, no. It's very unsettling.
Yeah,
but
Midsummer wasn't scary. It was just.
Midsummer's a lot. Hereditary is a lot like creepier and more like traditional scary.
Yeah, it is more traditionally scary. It has a darker color palette. Like.
Yeah.
Funny enough, when you mentioned Midsummer though, and you mentioned not wanting to know anything going in, did you know that there was a study conducted? Now, I don't know the details of this study or whatever, but I can probably find it. Where people who have the endings of stories told to them generally like the stories more than people who go in blind. Like when you spoil something for somebody, like for some reason, people end up liking it better. Now, I'm not telling you people to like go out and spoil everything. Obviously, still don't spoil things, but it makes me feel better to know that it's still worth watching something, even if it gets spoiled for me. Like right when I hang up this phone call or a podcast being conducted via phone call, I am planning on watching the new hit series The Boys.
Ooh, I'm halfway through season 2.
Oh, I didn't start season 2 yet.
Is it good?
It's very good. It's so good.
The
I
Boys
won't.
is
I won't
pretty
tell you
good.
anything, but it's so good.
Yeah, I'd rather not
talk
know
about this
anything,
next
but like,
time around the
in the event
podcast.
that I was spoiled, now I know that I can still watch things. So for everyone out there who doesn't want to watch something because it's been spoiled, just know about this study that makes it seem like people who are spoiled really end up liking a lot of stuff.
That's interesting. I think that'll work for most movies, but if I'm like, okay, Eric, I know that you saw Brigsby Bear because we saw it together. If you knew the plot going in, it wouldn't have hit you as good, I don't think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Well, do you know what Brigsby Bear is, Pete?
No, I don't. But I do agree that there are some movies that are constructed in a way that you can't even watch it if you know like a part that happens.
Yeah, like I'd say it's the same with Gone Girl. You ever seen Gone Girl?
I haven't
with
seen
Ben
Gone
Affleck?
Girl either.
Yeah, that's like there's a lot of twists and turns in that, and if you know really what the main plot is, it takes away from it.
I could see that.
But that's a really interesting study.
Yeah, I think it's for more like, especially for more like traditional movies. You know,
Yeah.
like for instance, have you seen Lord of the Rings? My favorite movie.
Yes, I have.
I can't get into them. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Yeah, they're definitely not for everybody. But
honest to God, I tried watching the first one all the way through 5 times.
it's a good movie. First one's especially good. But the other
People
two
tell me that the second one is better, but I want to watch the first one all the way through before I watch the second one.
I would, if I were you, I would, if you're struggling with the 3-hour aspect of it, maybe you should watch it in chunks. It's actually
I don't know if that's what it is.
Way longer than the
just
first
like the
book.
5 times I tried watching it, they just weren't the best watching conditions for me. I don't know.
Maybe. Well, I mean, but that's the kind of story that's like, we all know what's going to happen in the end, right? Like the good guys have to pull through, or the world's going to end.
Yeah.
So like, and it's more about deconstructing the how they're gonna do this than it is.
That's exactly right.
Than it is the what's gonna happen. And I think when you ruin a movie, when you ruin the ending of a movie for somebody, they can spend the whole time kind of deconstructing the how. And it's
exactly right.
It almost becomes like you know how like a detective will know what happened but need to figure out how it happened, so you could become like almost like a movie detective. So that's, I mean, there's fun in that as well. But I do recommend Lord of the Rings. I think it's I'm biased though, because when I was like, my dad showed me Lord of the Rings when it first came out in like 2001, when I was like 5 years old. And it's just been a part of my life since that moment. I've seen each movie like 100 times. It's like ridiculous. Lord of the Rings, super fan. But highly recommend.
You bringing up that, that story thing, that's a great conversation I really quickly want to touch on, because I'm watching right now, there's this German show on Netflix called Dark.
I want to see Dark so bad!
You what, Pete?
I want to see Dark so bad.
Okay, so I started watching it. It's German. It's dubbed over in English.
I would just put subtitles on. Is there an option for that?
I think so. I didn't look.
There is. That's how I watched it. At least the first episode.
You did watch the first episode?
Yeah.
What did you think?
I thought it was cool. I don't know. I don't remember. I remember liking it a lot. I don't remember why I stopped
slow.
watching it. I might have just had too many things on my plate and haven't gotten back.
It's slow to get into. It's extremely complex.
That's probably why.
Do you know what it's about, Pete?
So I've seen the trailer a number of times, because it's one of those things on my list that I'm like, I'm gonna watch this right now, and then I never do, because I always get the vibe that it's just like Stranger Things but a little darker. But now I'm starting to think that it's nothing like Stranger Things, and that's gonna be really cool. I know that there's time travel involved.
Okay, that's all I needed you to say. So, me, without spoiling things, you're talking about, good guys have to prevail in the end, whatever.
Yeah.
And then it's all about finding out that middle.
Mm-hmm.
My big problem with this series, Dark, is that everything, because it's time travel, everything is inevitable.
Yeah.
So everyone is on the quest to change the course of time, but everything is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm watching, thinking like, there's not going to be a point in this where something changes. That's my big gripe with it right now.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
You know, it's funny you say that, and circling back to the Dungeons and Dragons, and my storytelling in general is that I will never do time travel. I avoid it at all costs. I really think that a lot of people think time travel can be done really well, but I think when you do time travel in a story, it closes more doors than it opens. Like there's so many rules that have to be followed when you're doing time travel, especially time travel that goes backwards. Going forwards is fine, I think. Going backwards is really bad because there's so many rules that need to be followed, or else like the whole, butterfly effect, all that stuff, like the whole universe is gonna like become unraveled, like if you like kill somebody or whatever, or if you mess up and then everything changes in the present and you're like creating a bunch of different timelines. Like, I don't know. I think that there's so many wrong ways to do time travel that when I know something is about time travel, I'm immediately hesitant to like read or watch or like play it or whatever it is. But
Sure.
I have only heard amazing reviews of Dark, so that's one of the reasons that I'm kind of like okay with the time traveling aspect of it.
It's definitely interesting. There's a lot of great twists and turns. I think, though, as a storyteller, you decide how complex you want to make it when it comes to time travel.
Mm-hmm.
This one's definitely really complex.
Yeah. Well, I think more complex is if you're gonna go the time travel route, you might as well go all the way. Like you might as well make it super complex. And
they get into like the physics of it. Like they dove into it.
Oh, okay, that's cool. Way cooler with that than just random time machine time travel.
No, it's definitely interesting. Yeah, we should definitely. I mean, I'd love to have you back on again, Pete, because we barely did talk about music, which I feel bad about.
No, I'm cool with talking about whatever.
We'd love to follow up on the stuff with you.
I love talking about story. It's kind of my favorite thing to talk about, to be honest.